Good morning to all my students, and today I am welcoming you in the class in the new lecture on business studies. As previously we have studied about the function, the management function, that is directing, and today we are going to start the next function of management, that is last but not the least, that is the controlling function. We cannot say it is the last function because after controlling again the planning function starts. So it is actually the interrelated. So if we talk about the controlling, we will here study about what is the meaning, the nature of controlling, the importance of controlling. Then we will also discuss about the relationship between the planning and controlling as a process. So all these subtopics we are going to be discussed to understand what is the meaning of controlling. So basically, if you simply think about controlling. Controlling means to control, and you can also say whatever you have just done, you are just going to be compare the actual with the standard performance. So with the definition, or you can say the meaning of the controlling means, it means comparison between the actual and the planned output to find out the reasons for deviation and taking corrective measures. So here there are so many key factors, key words are there. See, it means a comparison. So controlling means when you are doing the controlling process, there is a comparison between the actual and the plan. So there must be the standard plan and also what you have just done. By following that actual plan, what you have actually achieved. So you have to be just compare with it. And also to find out the reason for deviation, and during achieving that output, if there is a deviation, if there is a lack, whatever you plan for, but you are lacking, why? What is the reason for lacking? Why you are lacking in your plan? That also has to be analyzed. So what the reason of the deviation and taking corrective measure? It's not controlling. Doesn't mean that it's only to find out what is the deviation. Also work on that, those deviation is also the part of the plan. So we can say that controlling is a very important managerial function. It concentrates by taking the necessary measures for preventive actions to ensure achievement of organizational goals. So the meaning of controlling is, controlling function can be defined as comparison of actual with the planned performance. It is if there is any difference or deviations, that finding finding the reason for such differences and taking corrective measures. So this is all about the meaning of the your controlling. There is also one definition I just want to be explain to you. That is, a controlling is determining what is being accomplished, that is evaluating the performance, and if necessary apply corrective measures so that performance take place according to the plan. So this is the your definition by the Terry and Franklin. So controlling is not the last function of management, but it is a function which brings back the management cycle to the planning. So we can say basically we have divided our management function into the 5. That is, first is the planning, then organizing, then staffing, directing, and the controlling. So 5th function is the controlling. And we can also say that the planning and the controlling are interrelated and interdependent with each other. So we can say that for the effective planning, the controlling process is very important, because it is actually the result you are to be analyzing on the basis of that result, which you are just coming out through the process of controlling. You come to know about what are your deviation in the future plans, when you are going to be make, how you are going to be take the corrective measures, and all the things you are actually come up with the process of the controlling. So what is the scope of the controlling? The controlling is very wide in scope, and it does not end only by comparing the actual performance with the planned performance, but it tries to find out the reason and the solution to such problem. So we can say scope of controlling is wider, because it's not only to understand and to just know about that, yes, this is my actual and this is my planned for performance, and you are just going to compare it. This is also the comparison is also the part of controlling, but the key factor is after comparing what deviation you are come up with, of doing and work on those deviations and try to solve out the problems and try to come out with the solution of those problems is also the very important part of the controlling. So we can say that that's why the scope of the controlling is wide. Now come to the next, that is there are two aspects of controlling function, that is strategic control and the operational control. So controlling is basically on these two, it is actually lying under these two, that is strategical control and operational control. If we talk about the strategical control, it is concerned with the plan, making of plan, whether the plan is accurate or not, and operational, whether the activity we are based on our plan, what we are doing. So we are to also concentrate by bifurcating the activity by the strategic as well as the operational, that what kind of the correction and corrective action are actually needed, whether it is needed for the planning area or whether it is related to the operational area. So we can say that the strategic control refer to the check how effective the strategy and the plan and are, because sometimes there can be deviation in the actual performance and the plan performance due to the plan and strategies. So that's why we can say it is in a strategical control. If your plan is not accurate, if your strategy what you have made is not effective, then you have to first work on your plan and strategies. Next is the operational aspect. Now, the operational aspect refers to the focus on the managerial and the other activity of organization, that is to find out whether the mismatch is due to the fault in the action or activities. In both the aspect, the manager try to find out the reason for mismatch and take corrective action. So, it is the duty of the manager to first identify that where the corrective measure are to be taken, that is either in the initial stage, that is in the strategies and the plan what the top level of management has prepared. If there is any kind of any deviation or if the plan are not effective, then we have to work on that. And also if the plan is right, effective, but the way of implementing the plan maybe is not affecting the process just because of any reason. For you can say the performance level of employees are not right, if there is a machinery is not working according to, if there is a technology you are just adopting is not right, you have to work on that also. So after that, the nature of the controlling. So we can say that controlling is a goal oriented or pervasive, both backward as well as the forward looking. Also the controlling is a continuous process. So controlling is in a goal oriented function. Controlling function makes sure everyone follows a plan or work is as accomplished as per the plan, and plan always aim at achieving the original goal. So here the goal oriented planning is goal oriented because it is actually ultimate objective of controlling is to actually assess that whatever the goal of the organization, whatever the aim of organization, whether it is achieving according to the standard level or not, that has to be found out. Next is controlling is an all pervasive. It means controlling is present everywhere. You can't ignore any function without controlling. But controlling is actually needed at all levels. So it's not a task of the top level of management, but the manager working at all the levels, that is either it is the top level or the middle level or also on the your supervisory level. Everywhere there is a controlling. Everywhere there is an activity, there is a people you have to just take care about, you have to be take care about with the help of controlling. With the discipline, you can say, with the proper instruction you have to be followed. With the way of that you can control the activity as well as the employees. Next, controlling is both backward as well as a forward looking? Yes, because it is the backward looking function for manager. Compare the planned performance with the actual, and to measure the actual performance, they have to be looked back to the performance already done. Controlling is a forward looking because it does not end only the comparing past performance with future, but it also suggests the measures to remove the reason for failure of the plan. So that's why we can say it is in a backward looking and also the forward looking. It means it's backward looking because with the help of the past performances you can understand what kind of a deviation may occur in the future, and also it is futuristic if you have any you can say the deviation and any kind of the lag in your plan. You have to work on that. It's not only to just leave that. Yes, you know that this is your deviation area. You know it, but you are not doing anything. Doing something to solving the problem, that is forward looking because you are actually based on your making the plan for the future. Next is your importance of the controlling. So controlling is no doubt it has a much more importance for the management function. So we can say it helps in achieving the goal first of all, because the target of the organization is a must for every employee, top level of everybody actually work for the organization targets. So that's why achieving the organization goal, that is the ultimate importance. Judging the accuracy of the standard, making efficient use of resources, then improving employees' motivation, ensure order and disciplines. Next is facilitate coordination. These all are your importance of controlling. So we can say that achieving the organization goal, that is ultimate aim of all the function of the management is achieving the organization goal. That is the very foremost important objective of all the function of management, and also it is the importance of the controlling because it actually helps in achieving the organizational objectives. Next is judging the accuracy of standard. Controlling itself is a function because it is a function to assess the actual with the standard. This is in the controlling function. This is the basic key area. So next is the making efficient use of resources. With the help of controlling, we can assess that how much the resources we have and how we are to use those resources with an efficient and effective way. Next is improving employees' motivation. Yes, if it is just crystal clear in front of you that this is my work area, I have to do it. If I want to perform, if I want to be get something from my job, if I want to achieve something, I have to do this. So this view you are to be also set in the mind of the employees who are working for the organization, that you are to set their mind about the clear picture and the idea and a view that if you will do it, this is your task, you are to be performed very clearly. It is be in the mind of the employee. So with the help of the clarity of the work you are just giving and guiding to the employee, it also creates the motivation of the employee, that if it is clear. You can only be motivated if the task and the path is just clear in front of you. You can't be motivated if you are confused. So first of all, controlling actually just remove the confusion in the mind of all the employee, you can say the workers and laborers, that what is the task you want to be performed, you must be clear about it. So with the help of that, you can also create a motivation in among the employees. Next is ensure order and discipline. Controlling can only be done with the help of the discipline, the uniformity. If there is a chaos, if there is you're not adopting the discipline, the work you will perform according to the norms and the standard. So it's very important to create the environment which is with the disciplined environment is very much required. That is done with the help of the controlling. Next is the facilitate coordination. Nothing can be done if all the people, if all the worker employees, if they are not coordinated with each other. voluntarily they are coordinated. That's very important because no work can be performed properly, and if you perform any work without the coordination, you will not find the desired result, the standard result. It's impossible. So just to remove all the deviations, all the chaos, all the confusions, it's very important to create the atmosphere of the cardiac relation and also the atmosphere of coordination. If the team of the organization is coordinated to each other, only then you will get the desired result. So that is all about the importance of the coordination. Now come to the relationship between the planning and controlling. That is a very important. You have to understand what is the relation with the planning and controlling. See, planning is the very first function of the management and controlling is the fifth function. After that, again the cycle of the planning or the cycle of the management start again. So we can say that planning is based on the controlling and controlling is based on the planning. They are interdependent, they are interlinked with each other. Both are forward looking, both are you can say the past, backward looking. So we can say that the characteristics of the planning as well as the controlling are somewhere similar. So that we are going to discuss. Planning and controlling inseparable, twins of management. Planning and controlling function of management are very closely related. The relation between both the function explained as first is nature and scope. So with the help of these points, we try to understand the relationship between the planning and controlling. First is the nature and scope or nature and the concept. Second one is both are interdependent and interlinked. Third one is both are backward and forward looking. Fourth one is planning is the prescriptive whereas controlling is evaluative. So first is nature and scope. Planning is a basic function of every enterprise. As planning, we decide what is to be done, how is to be done, when is to be done and whom it must be done. Planning bridges the gap between where we are standing today and where we want to go or reach. And whereas controlling means keeping check of everything is in accordance with the plan, and if there is any deviation, taking preventive measures to stop that deviations. So it means controlling makes it clear that controlling function is undertaken for the right and timely implementation of the plan. So plan cannot be implemented properly if the controlling function is not working properly. Next is planning and controlling are interdependent and interlinked. Next that is the planning and controlling functions always coexist or have to exist together as one function depends upon the other. The controlling function compare actual performance with the planned performance, and if there is no planned performance, then controlling manager will not be able to know whether the actual performance is okay or not. So we can say that for the checking of the performance, there must be the standard performance so that we can compare the standard with the actual performance. So there must be the two norms. The first, there must be the norm which can be actually compared with the actual you have achieved. Next, on the other hand, the planning function is also dependent on the controlling function, as plans are not made only on the paper, but these have to be followed and implemented in the organization. The controlling function makes sure that everyone follows the plan strictly. Continuous monitoring and checking in controlling function make it possible that everyone follows the plan. So we can say that making the plan on the paper is not enough until and unless it is not be come into the implementation. It is come into the existence or in a real sense, and only then you can make your plan transfer from the paper to the actual with the help of the controlling function only. Next, both functions are interlinked and interdependent. As for successful execution of the both function, planning and controlling must support each other. So we can say yes, the planning and your controlling function are actually matching to each other. They are complement to each other. Planning and controlling both are backward and the forward looking. Yes, controlling is backward looking because like the postmortem of the past activities, the manager look back to the previous year's performance to find out the deviation from standard plan. In the backward looking, because plan is to be guided by the past experiences and feedback report of the controlling function. Planning is a forward looking because plans are prepared for the future. It involves looking in advance and making policy for mixing maximum utilization of resources in the future. So we can say that both the planning is a backward and the planning and controlling both are the backward and the forward looking. So if we talk about the planning as in a backward or the forward, yes, planning is a backward because on the basis of the back results or the past performances, the plan is to be made. Okay, or also always the plan is to be based on the past performances. You all know that. Also, plan is for the futuristic. That's why it is also the forward looking. But if we talk about the controlling is also be based on all the norms are actually set on the basis of the past performance or past deviations which ought to be come into the way of your working. That's why it is, we can say that on the basis of past you set the norms and standard, and controlling is actually for the betterment of the future. That's why we can say both the planning as well as the controlling are forward, backward as well as the forward looking. Next is planning is prescriptive, whereas controlling is evaluative. So planning is basically so intellectual process involving lot of thinking, comparison of the prescribed a particular course of the action for achieving the objective, and controlling on the other hand evaluated or checking when the desired causes of the action is followed or not. So we can say the planning is prescriptive and whereas controlling is evaluative. Controlling function actually bases on evaluation, basis of calculation, where there is a deviation, what is the area of deviation, where we are to be work on, where we are to work on further for the more best results. So these are all your relationship between the planning as well as the controlling. Now come to the controlling process. Process means there are the set of the stages you are to be crossed or you are to be follow for the proper activity of controlling, for proper adoption of controlling. So controlling process. See, first is setting up the target or the standard. The very first you can say the stage or the step of process of controlling is setting the standard or the target. Then measuring of performance. Whatever you are set as a target, you have to also measure that whether it is what is the performance of yours. Now next is where you have achieved something. Now the next step is to comparing the performance with the standard. Now you have the standard fixed and also you have achieved something. You have to just compare the both. Next, analyzing the deviation. Now when you compare something, you are to be come up with some results that you are to be also analyzed. Corrective measures. If there is any deviation, you are to take the corrective measures. Feedback of controlling. Also, if there is an deviation, you have to also give the solution for that. That's not only giving the assessing the deviation that yes there is a deviation, there is a lack in your plan is not only the controlling process. Giving the solution of the problem is actually the proper you can say the activity or proper process of your controlling. So we can say yes, feedback of controlling. This is last but not the least. So first is setting up the target. Standard means target or yardstick against which the actual performance is measured. The standard become a basis of comparisons and the manager insists on following the standard. So there is a standard and manager insists to follow that standard or a yardstick. Next, standard must be achievable. Very high or very high standard which cannot be achieved are no use, and standard must set up keeping the mind of resources of the organization as far as possible. Standard must be set up in the numerical or the measurable terms. So standard should not be so high that you can't achieve it. It should not be so low that there is no use of making the plan and strategy. It should be in between, which can be achievable. And also you also try to set your standard which can be measured in the term of numeric, or you can say in a measurable terms. Say for example the standard sale 20 lakhs, or you can say standard profit 4 lakhs. So next step is measuring the performance. Once the standard is fixed, the next step is to measuring the performance. After setting the standard, the performance of the employee is measured by evaluating the actual work done by the employee. When the performance can be measured numerically, then it is convenient to measure the performance. While measuring the performance, the quantitative as well as the qualitative aspect of the performance is kept in mind. Sometimes yes, it's not only that you can only measure the numeric value for controlling, for assessing the deviation. Also quantitative as well as the qualitative, both aspects are important. So next is compare the performance against the standard. Now when you are done with your actual performance, which can be either in a you are to be assessed on a both yardstick, the quantitative as well as the qualitative. Compare the performance against the standard. That is, after measuring the performance, the manager compare the actual performance with the plan performance and the standard. If there is a match in both, then the controlling function ends there only. But if there is a mismatch or deviation, then the manager tries to find out the extent of deviation. If the deviation is minor, it should be ignored. So when you are comparing the actual performance with the standard, you are to see that if there is a deviation, and deviations are of basically of a two type. There is a deviation which can be sorted out with the help of the supervisory level. You need not to take that problem to the upward, to the top level of management, until or unless it is not so much you can't ignore it. It's not ignorable. Only those deviation which is ignorable or which can be set it out at the supervisory level, that can be find out or try to find out the solution by the supervisor. But if there are some kind of deviation which are to be very much conveyed to the top level of management, because they are materialistic, they are very much important to be discussed. That has to be brought in the mind of the top level of management, so that with the help of reset the plans, or with the help of their thoughts and mind and the thinking process, they can sort out and try to find out the solution on those problems. Next is analyzing the deviation. All deviation need not to be brought to the, as we have discussed that all the deviation need not to be brought to the notice of top level of management. The range of the deviation should be established, and also only cases of beyond the range should be brought to the knowledge to the top level. They must divide the deviation into category. The deviation which need to be attended urgently in a one category, or a minor insignificant decision in the other category. So significant and insignificant. Insignificant, that can be sorted out at the lower level, need not to be brought in the minds, and which are significant, that have to be forward to the top level of management. So we can say what kind of, there are two categories must be controlled by the following ways. First is the critical point control, and the second is management by exception. So what is the critical point control? It means keeping focus on some key area, and if there is any deviation in these key area, then it must be attended urgently. Key areas are those which are impact on the whole organization. So you are to be very much clear about what are the critical area. Next is management by exception, means manager who tries to control everything may end up controlling nothing. So the deviation which are beyond the specific range should only be handed over by the manager, and the minute or a minor deviation can be ignored. Manager should not waste his time and energy in finding solution for minor deviations. Rather, he should concentrate on removing the deviation of the high degree. So it means that management by exception means manager need not to be sorted out all the problem on a one go. That has to be, you are to be take the priority that which problem is significant, you are to be work on that. You need not to be waste your time by sorting out the insignificant problems. So next is taking the corrective measures. Now taking the corrective measures, that is on comparing the actual performance with the planned performance. The manager will come to know about the deviation between planned and the actual performance. Then the next step is to know the reason for such deviation and try to remove the deviations. The manager take measures to bring back everything on the track. So it is a duty of a manager to know about what are the deviation and also work on that, because it is a duty to make the action onto the same track. That is the duty of the manager. So it means according to the plan, taking corrective measures may involve let the situation may the same if the deviation are minor. Second, redesign or reframe the plan or strategies if these are overstated or not matching with the present day of the business environment. Third one, taking the corrective measures to improve the performance so that in future it matches with the plans. So this is all the taking the corrective measures. Now the next is the follow up. Follow up or the feedback of the controlling. It is the last, you can say, the step of the process. This is the finest step of the process of controlling. That is, the controlling function does not end by taking the corrective action. As it is continuous process, after suggesting the corrective measure, the feedback report is prepared. Feedback refer to the list of the reason for the deviation of the plan or for inefficiency in overall working of the management of organization. Along with the reason, the corrective measures are also specified in the feedback report, and feedback act as a base of establish the standard for next year, and controlling process again start from the first step. So feedback is basically the blueprint of blueprint of the next planning process, which is for the coming year. So this is actually the controlling process in which setting up of the standard, then measuring the performance, comparing the actual with the standard, then analyzing the deviation, corrective measures, then feedback of control. So this is all about all the process of the controlling. That controlling is last but not the least process of least function of management, because controlling and planning are actually, we already discussed that they are actually interrelated with each other. So I think it is enough for today, and people please concentrate on your study, and I am saying good luck for all your studies. Thank you.